Hey listeners, TJ Kitsune here for Top Tier, a podcast dedicated to the fighting game community and the growing trend of esports. It's been about a year since episode 0 has been released, where I got to sit down with three local players in Rockford, Illinois, Eli, Brett, and Ron, and we discussed EVO 2015 as well as their thoughts on esports for the future. I recently reconnected with Eli, who in the last year had been developing his own league dedicated to Super Smash Bros. And had been growing steadily throughout the northern part of Illinois and traveling to various tournaments. I got to sit down with him and two of his players, and we discussed the league's aspirations and what their thoughts were on the esports scene. So without further ado, here's the official episode 1 of Top Tier with Level Up Gaming League. So welcome to the official first episode of Top Tier. Today I am sitting here with the Level Up Gaming League out of Rockford, Illinois. And I kind of want to just go through and ask about the league itself and get a chance for you guys to kind of speak about yourselves and the league and how it's going. So we'll start with introductions. We'll start with you.
Greetings and salutations, world. My name is Level Up Gaming League's royalty. Steven is my actual name, and I'm our head commentator.
Excellent.
My name is Elijah. I go by Wiseman or Papa Eli or Professor Wiseman. I go by many names. I am the founder of Level Up Gaming League.
No. Yeah, I'm Alex. I've been with Level Up since the beginning, and my tag is Shauna, and I recently adopted a fun name, which is Bloodsucker, which I use that because in a reference to my name Shauna, Bloodsucker is a sword that was used. So when I use my character, when I use the character with a disjoint like Cloud or Pit, I'll adopt the name Bloodsucker.
Oh, that's clever.
Makes sense.
Channeling
Makes sense.
Shauna now. Is that where we're going?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm tired of not having a cutie like mine.
Alright.
And Royalty, you're mostly a Princess Peach player?
Indeed, I do adore Princess Peach beyond all means. It is my number one main character.
Why is that?
I've always liked Princess Peach since back when the first time I played with her was in Super Mario Bros. 2, the Doki Doki Panic. And I love the fact that I thought she was broken. She can float, she can fly. When she was introduced in Brawl, best believe the moment I saw that there was a character who fought with hearts and sparkles, that was going to be the character I was going to play. So
Sounds fun. All right. So tell me a little bit about the league. How did you guys start? Where did you start? How did you get your foot in?
Level Up Gaming League started off of a dream. It was something that it's actually something I've always wanted to do. It's always something that I personally have wanted to aspire for, which is somewhere where players can come and feel safe and play. Now, where it came into the aspect of getting a group of players and saying, hey, I'm going to sponsor you, let's go have some fun, let's do well, that was kind of just a wild on-the-go thing. It was kind of like, all right, we didn't necessarily start out as Level Up Gaming League. We were a team at first, was Brick Symphony, and the team conspired of only me and Royalty. That is it. You were?
yes, BS Shana.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it was us three, and it was we never traveled. We went to
Iowa ones.
one event at, was it Chicago?
That was Iowa.
Iowa. There we go.
And you took top 8, and I took
Fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth. So, no, I got ninth. I didn't get top 8.
Alright.
Yeah, I got ninth.
That's a big tournament.
I got ninth place. And after that, we kind of looked at it like, this is a little more serious. I was like, we don't have anything like this at home. So that's when Level Up Gaming League kind of started. And it's not just a gaming thing. This is more of a place where people can not only learn to get better at games, but get better as a person.
Explain a little more. How do they get better? Do you guys actually offer them lessons? Do you teach them the game, how to sit down and actually
Yes.
pretty much improve?
Yes, we actively offer help. Actively. At any given time, we have helped some of the most inexperienced players become some of the most surprising threats.
Guild.
We have players like
100.
the Guild, Miss 100. We've had players like who've done a complete 360. We've had players that were already like they knew the game and you could see the potential there. And we've given them the tools. They've took the tools and they've gone far beyond what I would say the scope of what I saw they could do. Like we have a player named Truth, who I always believe like this player When I first met him, I bodied him. No, and he hated me.
Oh, yeah.
And he still does.
It was a
Like,
rivalry.
I met him at his home tournament. I beat him. I knocked him into losers, and then he came back up to grand finals, and I beat him there. Same way. And then after the game, he challenged me, and I like 8-0 him. So at that
CTs.
yeah,
I was
he's-
there for
so
that.
he hated me, but now he is a guy that he's kind of gotten over that I want to win mentality. He wants to learn, and he's such an impressive player now. And he always says like, "Well, I just need to keep hanging out with you guys. You guys made me better." And we've there's so many stories here within the league that players have said that.
True.
Do you guys
Very
have any
true.
personal stories like that?
I actually have a couple myself. Another player that we watched grow to beyond the point was the entire other half of our team, which is like Tag Back and RZI.
Yep.
When they first came to our tournament, and I think the only one that placed out of them was Concept Guru, who was a Greninja main. And I took like third that tournament because he ended up losing to Cody. But RZI was kind of like this guy who plays Falco, but he's one of our very important members now. Like him and Tackback and Burst have worked so hard because it was Burst and Tackback were just to reflect the Palutena team with Mewtwo. They're just this quirky duo.
Yeah, they would shoot Mewtwo's fully charged Shadow Ball, and then one would reflect it, so
Which
it
would
would get
empower
double
it.
the damage and double the knockback. But we were just
That's
like,
it.
that's
That's all
such-
they had.
Yeah, that's all they had. And we were just like, that's cute. I mean,
Kind of working off each other, but not really getting anywhere.
right?
Exactly. And now they're like huge powerhouses in the team who do a lot of work technically and individually
Yeah.
and as a unit. When we usually travel to like Chicago, we can expect them to do
Yeah, just
pretty well in
individually, even though they're not here, I'd like to actually introduce them. We have RZI, who is he is a top contender for, I would say, the Midwest Best Nest among a few others. We have RZI. I mean, not RZI. We have Tackback, who is known as the best Mewtwo in Chicago. We also have Burst, who is our electrician. Mainly, he makes us any foot-long Ethernet cable we need. Just give him like a week notice, and he'll literally like he approached you. He was like, "Just let you know, I made you a 50-watt Ethernet cord." Oh, you have time. Conte Guru, he is one of our better players. He's like top 4 skill-wise. He's also a general manager at a store, so we never see him. So if he did, he'd probably have a bunch of achievements. But that's pretty much for the other sponsored players. The actual sponsored players that actually travel outside of just local.
Where do you guys go when you travel? I mean, it's not just Rockford, obviously.
No,
but-
we travel anywhere. We have Sean, he who knows no bounds.
Oh, this guy.
The anime convention destroyer. He
Oh, yeah.
who stops at nothing.
undefeated,
Yeah,
so he weakens everyone in his way.
Your husbandos, your waifus, they know no fear.
All of them are trash
They-
when they face
they-
Luigi.
This guy has undoubtedly. He says he has tournament nerves. I hate playing in tournaments. Put this guy in an anime convention or rename it like if I renamed my tournaments Zero to Death Anime Con and put a couple of posters up. This guy.
Put some Shauna posters.
Yeah.
Just
Put Shauna-
power of anime.
It's like whenever
Look, I'm
he's.
surrounded by my waifus.
Well, let's see. You went to Call Out Delete. I believe you topped very well at that.
Okay,
He
so
went undefeated.
what happened?
Completely
is-
undefeated.
I started last year. It was my first anime convention. I went to ASIN and I greatly enjoyed it. Sadly, I kept missing the registration for the tournament because they kept saying, "Come back at 2." When I went back at 2, bracket was full, so I couldn't register.
Was that this year?
It was last year.
Last year? Okay.
So last year, I decided to just play some friendlies with everyone, and I happened to be an hour on the stick for about 2 hours, and the only more people that took me out was a Marth and a Lucina just sitting there ferrying me while I was in the middle of them. But so then I did pretty well at there, and I played against the person who won. Then there was ModCityCon, which is in Ohio. I went there, and they had a 183 plus man tournament. They didn't tell us the exact number; they just said 183 plus. So I actually got top 4 there. Then YumaCon was there, And Yumicon was a great experience, although I didn't get to play in the tournament because the bracket had actually filled up at 2 a.m.
Oh, wow. Notorious.
Yeah, so 2 a.m. And I got to play against a lot of the great players from Michigan. I had a talk with, his name is Ryuga, sponsored by Pulse. So he's a pretty cool guy, actually. Met Chibo. And then then at the end of last year, I went to Con Out Elite, and I won the singles tournament there, actually undefeated, not dropping a set.
Not dropping more than I think it was a game. No, 2 games.
I
2
dropped
games.
3 games.
3 games. I didn't see that third one, but you only lost 3 games.
Then I went to Asen again this year.
Yep.
Okay, so my buddy actually went to Anime Apocalypse, and he's just like, oh man, if only my buddy Shauna was here. And they all just got like really scared. They're just like talking about how they were scared of this guy's DDD, and who was with his orange
He
Luigi.
who instills fear.
And it's like, man, I really wanted to win this tournament today.
No, like, it's when he comes home and he tells me about his anime experiences, I'm like, man, if you could just get like ranking worldwide for the amount of anime tournaments you go to and do well. And it's like he always notoriously is like, I'm like, man, good luck today. He was like, I couldn't sign up. Bracket filled up again. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, so at Asen this year, they had 2 tournaments, and I won one of them, and another one had 93 people in it, and I took second there, which I thought was a pretty good achievement. I lost to a guy from Michigan, and all the Chicago people said he's really good, so I don't feel bad about losing to him.
Oh, the Bowser Jr.?
But it made me want to learn matchups that I struggle with. And my character Luigi actually struggles with characters like Bowser Jr. or Mega Man, stuff like that. People who can't stop him from getting in. So
Yeah.
I kind of find it interesting that you brought up Asen and Anime Apocalypse because I hosted both of those.
really,
That's awesome.
Well,
So-
you were at Asen, weren't you?
I was at Asen. I was actually the one taking registrations for a short time, and then I was up front. But,
I think I registered like the night prior.
okay, so you're probably there before I got
It's
it.
like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and then Anime Apocalypse was kind of my baby because I'm the
I
manager.
didn't go to
so-
Anime
That's
Apocalypse,
awesome,
but my
dude.
buddy did, and he told
Yeah,
me
he
that every.
did say, he was like, that guy looks really familiar. I was like, yeah. He was at Chip Damage, and he was like,
I get around. I actually work. I've done GeekCon, Anime Apocalypse, Asen, and a couple others that are coming up soon too.
So you were the guy in charge of the stream, or no?
No, not the. Well, for Chip Damage, I do the streaming for Chip Damage.
Oh.
But that's my only involvement with them is just streaming their games. I don't do any of the hosting and everything. For the anime conventions, though, I do host some of the tournaments, but it's mostly like Persona, Blaze Blue. I got dragged into the Smash Brothers just because they had no one else at the time to do it, and I'm not great at tournament hosting all that much when it comes to Smash Brothers because that can go on
Different.
forever.
Yeah, it's
Um,
different field.
I had nightmares.
It was hours.
Yeah, exactly. That was my problem. It was a 4-hour-long tournament, and I only had 48 players. So that's when he brought up the DDD. I was like, oh god, I remember those matches because they were
What
the
does that
roughest
mean,
ones.
DDD?
Yeah, they were scared of you at Anime Apocalypse.
Get out of town.
It's a very small convention too, and there's some players that were managed all from horrible to really good. So it was kind of
I can
impressive.
imagine, like, oh man, I know the matches you're talking. Just like players just hopping up and down innocently, just
Yep.
like hitting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jeez.
after Asen, I made a couple of friends with these people who have potential to be like actually really good, and they're like right underneath our skill level. And I feel like if they came out to where we are and played with us, they would actually be really good. And it got to a point where last week I actually got a question from one of them asking if Level Up was still recruiting, and I didn't know how to answer that. So
So it's a tough one.
yeah,
How many members do you guys actually have in your league?
I think
8.
So I want to clarify that before we actually give an actual answer. So
9.
so sponsored player wise,
Like fighters.
like actual players who travel to get the name out there, legitimately there are 3,
Okay.
which is RZI, Tackback, and Shauna. These are the players that are legitimately sponsored players, where these are players I generally don't, I expect them to do just play. Now the rest of them, which there are 2 locally sponsored players who locally, like with them, with Shauna, Tackback, if they need anything on their travels, I do everything I can to go out of my way to help them with that. Like if they need, hey, I can't make up my ticket, can you pay for the rest? Yeah, I can do that. Locally speaking, though, with the other 2 players, those are players that I work with to make sure they can get on their feet so that when the time comes to travel, they are ready. They have everything geared for. Now the rest being Concert Guru, Royalty, Fedora,
Burst,
and then Burst. Now those,
Gil and Holy Sun too.
those are the two local
players. Okay.
Now the rest, now those like Concert Guru being a store manager, I don't expect him to do much. Same with Burst. Burst travels. No, Concert Guru travels internationally, not to play Smash, but he inspires to be Germany. Yeah, he inspires to be much more than just a Smash player. He's fluent in German and is learning Japanese.
Wow.
So he inspires to do things more internationally than back here at home, which I can respect. Burst.
He travels around the country a lot
Burst,
with his family.
Burst is an interesting case. He loves playing Smash, but he also has a ton of family. So when the summer comes around, like right now he's in Mississippi. So we'll see him in a few weeks, and then he'll probably leave for another trip again. So that's how that is.
Is that hard for you guys as a league, having so many people kind of out and about at times, or?
Nope. We
Unfortunately not.
I myself I consider myself to be a very strong leader. So with that being said, even if we're missing a few people, I still know how to hold together a very strong unit. Fedora is our stream coordinator, and with Steven being our head commentator, it literally only takes 3 people to legit effectively run an entire tournament. I have ran, even before we met Fedora, I've ran huge tournaments with just Steven. And we've ran those tournaments very effectively. The other players, like the other people who I guess you could say help in very smaller ways. And even if they don't, if they just want to play, that's fine too. Lost my train of thought.
Food.
Yeah.
Bought the ticket but lost the train.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's not hard at all. I think it would be great for when we have like practice sessions to have everyone there. But things happen. It's understandable.
So I guess that kind of leads into some of my my next question. I guess we kind of covered a little bit on achievements for what you guys have accomplished for the league itself. I guess I'm kind of curious, what tournaments have you guys gone to and actually ranked top 10? Has there been quite a bit?
Nope.
Now,
Okay, so they have these regionals. They're called Midwest Mayhem, and out of all of us, there is Wise Man here, myself,
Tackback and RZI.
Tackback and RZI. If you were a Chicago player and you made it out of the pools to get like ranked in a tournament, there was a thing called the Summit. There were only 51 players in all of Chicago who made it to the Summit, and the 4 of us were one of those 54 players. So
Yep.
4 of those 51.
I have a different kind of achievement.
Yeah, Steven
for
is known as
commentary.
the best commentator in Chicago by far.
Except for you are.
No, let's
Me
not
too.
get on that topic. Me personally, I have not made top 10 in any of the traveling tournaments, except maybe in Iowa. But
Combo Breaker, you got top 50.
You know, say top. Yeah,
no,
combo
he said
breaker.
top 10.
Oh, top 10.
Now,
But-
top placings, I got 25th at Combo Breaker. I consistently
That's
get
legit.
I consistently get 33rd at a majority of tournaments. we
This
go
is
to.
also true. It's
Let's see. I've
hilarious.
gotten at Midwest Mayhem 2, which is the tournament that I qualified to get into the summit. There was like 180 people. I got top 64, which was just barely making it out of pools. But the rest of the tournaments, I've consistently made 33rd, if not better. At Combo Breaker was my best performance by far at an event like that, which
Combo
was
Breaker National.
yeah. It was my first national, I guess, and making 25th there was great. I mean, I was happy with my performance, but I wanted more.
Not quite where you were hoping.
I wanted day 2. I wanted day 2. I can't complain. It was a wonderful experience. It was.
It's really interesting because we started out really, really small. As I said previously, we were starting at Brink Symphony, And the only place we actually went to, we went to one Chicago tournament, which was West Mayhem, one major, and then one Iowa tournament.
Oh.
And then we went to a couple of other locals in
We went
Chicago.
to E2C 17, 18, and then Dismantle.
Oh, was it Demands? Not
We
West
went
Mayhem?
to E2C 17 to 18. We went to because we met False and Kataro at Dismantle. Dismantle was our first, like, I guess, regional, which was like the Midwest, basically. That was our first regional, but that was like the first time we had actually experienced that environment.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, which
Like,
was it was a culture shock, honestly. Like when you have players, it's different from playing on the couch at home, right? You have people who kind of can beat their friends. It's kind of like that's how we were. We were beating each other. We're like, oh my god, we're so good. It's like Shauna would do some crazy stuff. We'd be like, oh my god, you're so good. And then I would do something to Steven, and we'd be like, oh my god, I'm so good. And then Steven would do something to, let's say, Alex, like, wow, we're like, oh my god, we're like the best in Rockford. Like, we can do this. Let's go try. And then we got our faces kicked in, and we go home like, man, I think I should drop my character. Like, is this what's really out there? And it was kind of a big culture shock. And we had Brick Symphony, and we had another group that was inspiring with us called Downright Skill.
DRS.
Unfortunately, they went with us around the same time, and I think they experienced kind of the same culture shock, and they stopped. I think a majority of it was because they had a lot of individual things that happened within the group, and they lost touch with practicing. But combined with that experience, they kind of just stopped playing, and it was kind of like, man, that could have been us. Like, we could have just quit, and the fact that we had each other. Because I believe we kind of have these car rides where it's like there was one car ride where I was angry at myself. Oh my! I was so mad at myself. I had did terrible at a tournament, and I got like 33rd. But it was like the way I lost. I was so mad, and Steven was like, "Why are you so upset?" Oh, because of this and this, I lost it. He was like, "Okay, but why are you this angry?" And I couldn't figure it out. And because of that brotherhood and that companionship right there, we've been able to make it through, like, out of like the deepest, like, emotional things. I think that's what a lot of players who travel might not have. They end up quitting.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that he did take a lot of those words out of my mouth. I like that. I'm glad, but that's what really is pushing us forward. That's where the idea for Level Up really kicked in. We're switching to Big Symphony because jumping into
We need
these
to get him down
larger
here
scale
one day.
tournaments and understanding how the pro scene actually is,
He's a cool guy.
it's such a huge inspiration for us to jump past that level of cool, we're this local team, and really start like getting into the idea of building better streams and sponsoring players and traveling more. Like, even though we haven't gotten any significant placings, the fact that we're continuously improving and doing better is showing why it's worthwhile, why we're truly leveling up. So that's the really big kicker for us. What really drives us going. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and with what he said, as what I mentioned earlier, Level Up. At the end of the day, for me, Level Up, I consider to be an esports organization because we're not just Smash. We do play other games. Unfortunately, I don't have sponsored players in the other games that we do dabble in, but we are an esport organization. Like, for me, I'm the coach and analyst for RZI, Shauna, and TacBag. So I get a lot of help from Royalty and Fedora because they are the commentator and the stream coordinator, so they see everything, and we're able to go back and rewatch the games and look at things like, hey, do you see this? We really need to talk with them and work on this. And even after this, we'll be sitting down with Shauna about a lot of things that we've noticed and just where we can go on from there and continue that progression.
I think that's kind of an overall theme that a lot of players face is when they get involved in this. As you said, it's like you find out you feel you're the best person in your area, and then when you get out of that area, kind of like leaving your bubble, thinking you're ready for the big leagues, better to face some of these other people who are out there and then realize you really aren't up to that level
Yeah,
yet.
exactly. It's kind of like you're in high school and your parents are like, you have to watch out for your bills.
Right.
And then it's like, what bills?
Yeah.
It's honestly like
What is this red stuff?
yeah, what is rent? What is
To pay for things?
electricity, Wi-Fi? We pay for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Who are you, Nikori? I don't even see you.
Yeah, so you know, a lot of things, like a lot of players face. I think players face a lot of adversity, a lot of the time with even their friends, because sometimes in your bubble, players will often see their friends and have a friendly rivalry, and they won't ever talk about what their flaws are with their friends because, oh my God, if Shauna, you know, if I figure out what my problem is, Shauna won't be able to beat me again. And that is where a lot of players kind of lose that mentality. They don't think about the outside scope of like, we're trying to get better. Like most people won't help their friends get better because they don't. It's honestly not like, it's not that they don't care. They just want
They
to
don't want
continue
them to beat them.
yeah, they don't. They want to continue to be the best in their area. So and they don't think about, well, we're trying to get better for ourselves. And you know, here in this group, we understand that scope. We understand that we are all, well, they mostly are trying to get to a level of that world-class championship level where they can be mentioned with the best players like Zero, the Buzz, and other great fighting game names like Daigo, Sonic Fox. And to do that, you need to surround yourself with individuals that have that same like mindset, who want to see you succeed. I mean, if you could go talk with, I talked with, who was it? I had a conversation with Lupe Fiasco, and you could see that he was an individual that you could take as someone you would want to have around you when it comes to practicing. You know, I actually had the pleasure of watching him help someone else in Street Fighter. And you want someone who can sit down with you and show you, you know, mid-game, like, hey, let's pause it, let me show you how to do this, and let's practice it 20 times over and over again until you get it.
Let's go.
No?
So many upsets.
Yeah.
Then you.
Yeah, that's
Can we
that's
not- please
what
stop.
really keeps us going in the league.
I would say you're actually answering a lot of the questions I had. So this was where I wanted it to go. So you're doing very well.
Awesome. I've been keeping track too. Like,
So many upsets.
but yeah, that's what really pushes us. It is no, and I like seriously, like
leave the phone
like
alone till after
these
the
the mere idea, and I think it's really important because a lot of these other teams and other players who have so much potential who fall off like that because they reach that C and then it just murders their self-esteem and they're just like, yep, I'm done with this now, I'm gonna go continue doing the life things, and they flip their tables like and that's a real thing. Like when you get that wake up slap, that you're literally at that point, it's like, if I really want to do this, I'm gonna have to put my heart and soul into it. And like that's truly what we have for the players that are in our team now. Like we're looking for those kind of players who it's not just a game, you know. It's not. If you're gonna go play in the National Basketball League, you're gonna be working out. You're gonna be practicing. You're gonna do everything you can to get into the National Basketball League. If we want to get mentioned with those names, Zero, Nairo, the Buzz, then we need to work the way that they work. We need to understand their mindset, and that's like continuing to go to these tournaments and losing is probably the most important aspect to our growth, because one does not understand the level they need to get to.
I know exactly what you're gonna ask. So, you don't even have to ask the question. When he says losing is the best thing, so if let's say my first ever tournament and I went to Chicago and I got first place, I wouldn't have learned a thing, and that would have been very stagnant, right? I step into this scene and I do very, very well. It doesn't show me anything. It shows me, oh, I'm good, but then it makes me complacent, right? It inherently makes me complacent. Now the fact is that I went there, got stomped. It opened my eyes to how much I need to grow. Now, there are cases where you show up out of nowhere, you do great, now let's go back. And then you continuously get stomped over and over again. Now what happens is you say, I won once. Why is this not happening again? Because that first time you won, no one may not have known you. Nobody may have been able to expose your flaws, and now they're doing it. And you may not even understand right away, like, wow, I have all these flaws. You're just like, man, what's going on here? So when he says like losing was probably the best thing that we can do at this point to get better, because it's losing, you understand, like even if you get second place and you lose, a lot of players will go back, and I've one of my good friends, his name is Bushy, and this guy has the hardest work ethic of a majority of up and coming players in Chicago. I mean, heck, this guy works harder than me like a lot of the time. He told me what I do is any game I won or lost, but I lost a stock. I go back and I watch that game, and the moment I lose a stock, I rewind it like 30 different times to understand what led up to me losing that stock. I need to understand the flaw I made and why my stock was taken. And players who lose an entire game inherently get better because we go back and we understand this was what my mental state was right before this happened. I attacked him knowing he wasn't shielded. I should have grabbed him. Had I grabbed him, I would have took like an up smash to the face or something. So when we say like losing is kind of the best thing, it just helps us improve. That's all it's about.
No, it's good stuff. I can relate. I'm one of those guys who actually gave up after a while. I actually haven't been in a tournament myself since Soul Calibur 2 came out. And that's probably
Really?
dating myself. Yeah, it was actually at Summerfest, believe it or not. Just as Soul Calibur 2 was starting to come out. And they were actually Microsoft was there in Milwaukee, and they were giving out a free Xbox to whoever wanted. Now, this is actually a week before the game was supposed to be released. But I spent a lot of time on the Dreamcast Soul Calibur. I picked Kleek because I was more comfortable with that character, and there was actually 45 people, between 42 and 45, who actually signed up for that tournament, if I recall. I mean, this is years ago. And I placed 14.
That's awesome.
So, for me, that was really good. But again, it was like, okay, I got 14th place. Now, granted, I didn't know who any of these people were. And I was still in college at the time, and it was still new. And it's like, it was kind of, it wasn't really my first tournament, but it was my first real tournament open where it wasn't on campus.
Right.
So, but yeah, for me, I kind of gave up after that because it was like I didn't have anybody who would play the game with me. Even when it came out, it's like nobody really played the game. I had no one to face other than my friends. And it was before the whole esports explosion really happened with a lot of these games. And I struggled with that. Yeah. Especially in the last 4 years or so.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely
Wait,
right. about that.
what season is League of Legends on? 6? Let's go back 6
6
years.
years.
Let's go back.
I know what you mean, though. Like,
Yeah, it's...
I mean,
So when you have people like that and you get that experience, I'm kind of jealous in a way because I didn't have that support. Otherwise, I probably would have kept playing. I probably would have made it all the way up through Soul Calibur 4. But it's just at that time it was difficult. I mean, and I couldn't go back and watch what I was doing. It was more of that was my one chance. That was it. I'm done.
Yeah.
that's me in Pokken tournament.
Yeah.
if I may say something, like, I mean, at some point, esports probably have to be called sports at some point because you do have to like work
It's
out.
sports now.
I mean, like, look at it, like,
Yeah,
I play
I
Luigi, right? And Luigi has a down B, and
What exactly does the down B do though?
All right, so if you press the down B enough times, if you press the B button enough times in 1 second, you will get some height off of it to the point where you have a jump.
Okay.
In order to get the maximum height off the down B, you have to press the button 16 times in 1 second to get maximum height.
Yo, how does he do this? you may
Literally,
ask
literally
how.
vibrate your thumb on the.
I can
on
do
the
11
button.
times per second.
See, and that...
Yeah, insane,
And
right?
and it's just understanding because that
Luigi
single
go.
move is so important to Luigi being able to recover back to the stage.
some point,
if the
I was
player
saying, it
cannot
has to be
properly
called sports
execute that
because, like,
single move,
we
then
have
they
to
will
work
not
out.
be able to successfully recover as Luigi. So just that tiny aspect. And like for me, with Peach, I do what's called QFR. It's quick float release. So I have to input a move that allows me to
TikTok,
float
gotta
and then
hope it
cancel
goes.
it. That tiny little movement back and forth gives me carpal tunnel.
I can imagine that. And I guess that kind of leads into the practicing because obviously these are moves that no typical casual player would come in and actually know. You would have to hit down B 16 times in order to execute this move.
And that's why I quit. That's why I quit Luigi. Like I tried to play. I always tell them like, man, I have a dangerous Luigi, and then I was like, how many times can you mash the B button? 3 times. Like, and then I suck at Naruto Ninja Storm. Like when they need to mash, I was terrible. Like
So what's the average time that you guys would put in, like before if there's a big tournament or if you're just doing casuals? How much time do you put in personally?
oh my
Let me
god.
tell you that
me,
we all have different
myself-
training regimens.
So me myself, what I've normally always done is I sit in training mode for like 2 days, right? Like
2 days
that-
straight?
That's how much time it would be. Like if I know a tournament's coming up, like within those 2 weeks, it would have been at like 48 hours of time spent in training mode. The day before tournament, I actually don't play, but then during the tournament, I will play a lot with the better people at the scene, so that I can refresh myself. I just take the day off so I don't have it on my mind during that time.
Me. Well, right now, before it depends on the character I plan on playing. I honestly I bounce around so much. Like I don't do that now, but like in other tournaments, I played Sheik. Let's see, it was who did I play? Let's see, besides Bayonetta, Sheik. So Sheik has a particular tech where I have to dash, press B, light click R, and then keep dashing, all in one motion. And it's
Needle
called,
fidget.
yeah, it's called needle fidgeting because she looks like she kind of jerks her body, but what she does is she takes out a needle and then you cancel the animation by pressing shield. And I would practice that for like 3-4 hours straight, just doing that in training mode back and forth, because it's essential to characters for the mind game. It's all about the mental pressure, like to do that. And it kind of make like when I would play Steven, I would do it. He would kind of like I would run off the ledge. And B reverse it, which you can make your character turn the other direction. But then I would cancel it mid-air and then auto cancel land into like an up smash. And he'd be like, what did I
just do?
Like, what did I just see? And I'm just like, science. So like me personally, before a week before the tournament, I know a tournament's happening a month in advance. So that's on my mind. So through this month-long process, like with Combo Breaker, how many hours a day did I spend practicing for combat? 2. My life is I'm married, I have a daughter, and I work a full-time job. So I don't have a lot of time to practice. So I spend 2 hours a night, and in those 2 hours, I sit in training mode, and I practice on characters to where I see what my character can do and get away with on those characters. Like, what can I hit on this character? And then after that, during the day on my lunch break and stuff, I will be reading on character frame data. I'll be reading on matchups. I'll be watching videos of other players playing against this matchup. And I'll kind of like, at the end of the night, when I get my 2 hours, I will practice in training mode while the computer's standing still combos on that character to see if I can hit them or not. Like recently, I've started playing Fox a lot as a solo main now, and I've been practicing what they call perfect pivot up tilt, which is where you can make your character scoot back and then do an action. So what I do is he can kick his leg up. So what I do is I can scoot all the way across the stage while kicking his leg up over and over again. While if they try to get away, I can just chase them with that. I mean,
also this input takes like half a second. You have to press like three, 4 buttons to do it in half a second.
Yep.
So you have to do that continuously and flawlessly throughout the tournament. And if you mess up, then you get punished for it.
Yeah,
But the action is almost needed. So
I mean, but that's what I do. I personally, and I also have these guys here. So if I ever need them, I just call them like, "Hey, can you hop on the internet, or can you come over real quick?" So I want to just see if this works. Like, that's me. That's what I do personally. I know other players like Steven here, who I believe, out of everyone we have,
I'll tell you guys what I do.
like I think I have to say Steven is not a sponsored player, but I have a good feeling in the future he's gonna. I think he has, out of all of us, when he sets a goal for himself, I think he has the highest worth ethic of any one of our people who, even the players. Like most people that play, I still think Steven might have the highest worth ethic when he's like, all right, my goal is to get out of pools. Well, here I go. I've seen this guy, hey, what'd you do all day on your day off? Well, I spent 8 hours straight in training mode doing this one thing. I'm like, and then I'm like, Alex, he was like, yeah, he's been on the game all day. But
yeah, I
he
definitely
can
want to
tell you about it.
I definitely want to say that practice is really the big make or break for a lot of players, and a lot of people can be discouraged with the way that their life goes. We all have. I want to say to anyone who's watching, no matter what it is that you're doing, any time that you spend practicing that's spent wisely is good time spent. Like I work 3 jobs. I also work with business owners, and I do commentary. So I don't, have a lot of time to spend playing. But best believe that the moment I sit at home and I get the chance to do so, that I pour every second that I have into mashing infinite scrims with Shauna or Wiseman.
explain what a scrim is.
Oh, a scrim is you can actually explain that a little better. It's like when you're practicing, but it's like competitive practicing. I set the lives to infinite.
Yeah.
in
Okay.
infinite time.
So what?
Like a scrimmage type.
Like
thing.
a
Yeah.
scrimmage,
So what
yeah,
it is
exactly.
some players will
Literally.
do 99 stocks, or some people will just take the time off and just fight.
Yeah.
Me
That's
and
what I
him, Royalty just did it earlier this week. He came over and he was there for like 4 hours, and that we picked a character, picked a stage, and for 4 hours straight, that's all we did. Granted, I mean, I got really good Peach experience with Fox,
But
And-
like that's really where you get that time though, to really start throughout the stocks. If you can, in my opinion, if you're playing with stocks on, then between games you stop and you watch the screen or the winning or losing screen. But when you're playing an infinite scrimmage like that, you during that stock you get to spend that time with nothing but infinite time evaluating everything that happened in that stock.
Yep.
Why did this happen? What happened here? What can I do better? Oh, that was really nice. You executed that very well, etc. Any amount of time that you spend practicing, if you know what you're trying to do, it's good time spent. And I really mean that, because like prior to this, my training time consisted only of playing against level 9 computers and not knowing what I wanted to do. And like the moment that Shauna actually introduced me into how to effectively utilize training mode, and Wiseman introduced me into how to effectively learn matchups, I started spending all the time that I had in training mode, like 8 hours up to, or if I get home, I'd get home and I'd play for 3 straight hours until I had to go back to bed to go for my next 3 jobs the next day. Like we definitely, you definitely have to put a lot of time into practice if you want to see results.
May I?
Yeah, no,
quote
I'm actually
Thorin?
done there, so you go.
For those who don't know who Thorin is, he is a European esport analysis, and he is a major figure in the esports community. Thorin said the worst kind of player that you can be is the player that says, all I want to do is win. Now, the reason I bring this up is because players who say, all I want to do is win, those players don't put forth enough effort. They're the guys who get the interviews at the end of the day. They're like, hey, what'd you do? And they're just like, I messed up. I'm going to go home and work hard and practice next time. But majority of those players don't do what the player that will probably say that. Like, those guys might go home and go to sleep. Like, they might go home and kick it with their wife or something.
Which is great.
Yeah, I mean, great. A life is great. But if you say, like, all you want to do is win, but you kind of don't have the mentality of that, you have, like, you have the mentality. It's different from being in the heat of the moment. But let's take you out of that environment, put you back home. Like, what's your mentality then?
Yeah, don't lie to yourself.
Yeah, basically don't lie to yourself. Like, with Steven here, and I'm not bagging on any of my other players, or even myself, but Steven, he has that mindset. He may not say, like, all I want to do is win, but he is a good example of the amount of effort that you have to put in to at least be decent. And at least, like, get to the point where people are not looking at you like, man, you're just a bad player.
Oh, you're just a commentator. That's my big drive. That
I hate when he says that.
I know, but like I was talking with there's a well-renowned player named Esam and his buddy NVD, who we were discussing this with them one time. It was before Combo Breaker, I believe. But
You mean at the house?
Yep. And
that was
he made one comment to me that's been sitting in the back of my mind ever since. He said there isn't a top 10 for commentators, but there's a top 50 for players. Mm-hmm. And I realized, like, I've already had like this juggle of, do I want to spend more time during tournaments commentating, or do I want to spend time practicing? Yeah. And I'm trying to effectively weed my way into properly doing that, so I can maybe commentate the later games, and then, but it's
a
pushing a lot of mental work, trying to really differentiate what it is that I want to do, what your goal is, and anything. And that's why I brought that up. Like, if you know what you're doing, mm-hmm. what you want to do, but it's not an easy climb, and knowing where you sit during your losses is very very important. How you take the L. So.
At Alv, I got
I'm very
who
bad
said
at
it
that.
best? Umeki, no, not Umeki. It was a Japanese player. I don't want to quote the wrong guy, but he said, and it was hilarious. He said, if I beat you in a tournament, hold that L nicely. And what he meant was just don't beat yourself up about it. Take it and learn from it.
I'm really bad at that. I get really salty really easily. because I put so much time in, and,
Sure.
and I'm just like,
Hold that L
how did
nicely, bro.
how is it that with all the time that I'm pouring in, I'm not seeing results? But it's that exact fact, that exact drive, understanding that, at least I'm putting the time in, that's making so I can see better results.
What's up?
So if I can say something here. So time is really good, important thing for the game. But one of the biggest aspects I feel that is important for this game is the mental part of it.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how
100% of
much
the game.
time you put in for practice. If you don't have a good mental game, you're not going to win against anyone.
Exactly. I'm
That's
so
probably my biggest weakness.
man. I could talk about mental aspect of this game for 3 hours straight, and we don't have that time. But he is absolutely right. For me, as I said, when I practice, I go over. I go back home and I study and all this other stuff. But you have to. They're. You know what? I'm not even gonna go into it. Just having a good attitude really makes a difference. Having a good mindset really makes a big difference. And just overall not beating yourself up makes a big difference. I was coaching Street Fighter players and Smash players at Combo Breaker
I
who
was there
ended
for
up
that.
making it out of pools because of what I said to them. Like, we had high level players from like Florida ready to drop out the tournament, and I was like, look, what did you do wrong? This. I was like, okay, you know this. If you face that character again, you know what not to do. There's no reason to quit right now. I was like, you're on the borderline of making it top 32 here. I was like, don't beat yourself up. Let it go. That's in the past.
Let it go.
That is a match ago. Let it go and move forward. And they're like, thanks. I got this. I was like, no one's telling you can't do it. You're the only person telling yourself that you're going to quit.
Yeah,
I
what
was-
was it? What was it you said? You said, who's telling me I can't?
Yeah, who's telling you that you can't make it? You are. And that is a bad mental stigmatism. No one else is. Your friends are going to tell you, except Tackback. Tackback told me I wasn't going to make top 32 at Combo Breaker, and I shoved it in his throat. That I did. I hate that.
I was there for that.
I hate that guy. I don't see how I sponsor him. Honestly.
And again, I think that's a thing that a lot of sports
It's a tough
people or a lot of
role,
people who are into this type of thing face. It's learning to face that humility, learning to face your defeats, and just having somebody there to support you and say, hey, yeah, sure, you may have gotten this loss, but why?
Yeah.
What can you do to counter that so even next time you can maybe get past that?
Yep.
Others are going to end up facing the same thing, and you're just going to get frustrated because it may be the same matchup. You're going to get scared. You're like, oh, God, I know what this guy did to me last time, or I know what this character is capable of. I have no way of countering it because I haven't either practiced it enough or I have no to help me with that to learn how to get past it.
That's me. That's my struggle there, where it's like, I can't get past this specific strategy. How do
Yeah.
I practice against this strategy that I can't beat? But it's all in the learning. It's all in growing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all in leveling up.
So after all that practice and everything you guys put into, at the end of the day, I mean, you guys have a pretty good group here outside of just the sponsored players.
Yeah.
What does it take to even join the league? Are you open for people?
Oh, so, Level Up Gaming League is just the organization. At the end of the day, we're just a group of people who are here playing. When I reach out to somebody and say, hey, can I, how would you feel if I gave you a shirt and sponsored you to travel? That's completely different. We have all shapes and sizes come through those doors. It's just a regular tournament. But this regular tournament just happens to have people here that really care how you do, and we are willing to help. So yeah, anyone can just come down. They call it Eli's Dojo.
We do actually.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
They actually do call it that.
They were calling that at Chip Damage, and it was so hilarious. Like I was like, I told him to stop, but it's just funny to hear that. But this is a place where we will have players like, I know Sean is waiting for that glorious day another Luigi may walk through the door. He's like, let me teach you, son, please. Let me hold you. Like yeah. So anyone can come down here. I hope to see more people. We see kids who have so much potential come here, and they do well, but they end up losing, and they never show back up. And and it's like, I try and reach out to as many players as I can. Like, hey, like I do message players like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Has everything been okay? Like, you used to come here a lot. Like, I did that with Miss 100. There was a couple of times where she missed, and it was because of school. I did that with Gooby, Gil. I did it with Gizmo. I just wanted to check up on the players that are regulars. Like, hey, is everything okay? Like, is there school going fine? What's going on? Like, Gooby, I told he would be our star-sponsored player, but this guy, inspires to be so much more. And I told him when he was doing ACTs, I was like, don't you dare step through those doors. And you have dreams to go to college and do this. I was like, don't you come through those doors and you're missing school and you're missing ACT. I'm like, I don't want to see it. Go home and study. I'll call your mom or something like. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it's open for anyone.
Great. Well, that's good. I mean, is there any last words you guys want to say? I mean, any inspiration you got for future players?
I got one. This is my favorite quote to say. I made it up one day and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Remember, guys, learn, adapt, win. It's the law.
All right.
So, I would like to say, if you come in here and you want to play, don't feel discouraged on your first time. And if someone's disrespectful, because in the game, what we always did, or what I feel like we always did, is that we always try to have fun with each other, and we always try to win in a stylish way.
Oh, is that right?
So if you get like a falcon punch,
Oh, you mean if you get styled on?
or if you get styled on and we laugh about
it,
it, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing because it's fun. And
No, that is a lie.
I think it's personally.
He's calling you
fun
out
to
now.
people.
All right, listen.
If I
You
can
know-
down punch you, I'm going.
We're
to
in the
laugh.
closing. Fine.
Because it's awesome.
I would say, in closing, don't think about who you're playing. Like, don't think about the player next to you. Think about the character you're facing. Because at the end of the day, you know that matchup. Like, you know that you've played said character 1,000 times. Like, you've played Ryu in Street Fighter 1,000 times. You know what your character can do against Ryu. You know that. Don't think about it's Daigo Umehara next to you. Just think about the character. If you think about the character, like, all right, well, this character can do this against Ryu, all of a sudden you start doing it, and then you win, and then it sets in like, I just beat Daigo? Exactly. Thinking about the character instead of the player helps a lot. That's a part of the mental game.
Definitely right about that. Understanding that no matter how awesome the character is, a character still only has a limited number of things they can do in different orders. And when you figure out the order that your opponent uses for the moves they have, that's when you can start figuring out how to beat them. I personally am failing at doing that so far, but it's very, very good for I'm just recently learned that, so past that, played along with Wiseman to you guys on a platter.
All right. Well, if people want to, where can we find you at?
Facebook?
Here at PC Tech to You. We're here every Friday, soon to be every Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Soon. I don't know when, but that is soon. Definitely, if not Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fridays definitely.
Fridays at 6.
Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook. You can find us at Level Up Gaming League on Facebook. You can follow our individual player Twitters. We don't have a active said Level Up Gaming League Twitter, but we are working on it.
Our Facebook page for you guys is spelled level, like spelled out, up. Like those two words are put together, they're spelled out, space gaming, space league. Always there.
Do you guys have a Twitch?
Yes,
we do
that's
have a
also
Twitch,
Level Up
actually.
Gaming League.
Level Up Gaming League?
Twitch.tv, Level Up Gaming League.
It's where we stream
Um,
our events.
We stream every Friday. We will soon also. We used to stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturdays, but now we're just doing Fridays because schedules got changed and computers started sucking. I mean, hey, that's it.
Different
but
Wi-Fi.
yeah, Wi-Fi started being bad, but we are definitely going to be streaming a lot more very soon. So.
Great. All right. Well, appreciate you guys' time. Appreciate PC Tech to You for hosting this. And I think that's about it. So, again, thank you guys.
Thank you for allowing us a chance to talk. Have a wonderful day, guys, and take it easy.